Hello. How are you guys doing today? So we're going we're going to do a painting and I'm excited. I'm extremely excited and extremely nervous just because I don't paint quickly. I've never done what I'm going to try to do here, and we're just gonna see what happens. So let's see. We've got Oh, Gonzalo, hello. Oh my gosh. My bra strap just came undone. Oh no. Okay, well, we'll see what happens there. I moved too hard. Okay, let's see. Hello from one sunny Mohawk. Oh, Leslie, hello. Hello from Minnesota, Catherine. Hi. Let's see. This is one of my favorite parts because you get to see where everybody is. Tilura says hello from British Columbia, Canada. Hello. And then Mina. Oh, Mina, you're here. Hello. Maria's in Romania. Hello. Oh, and Emmy is in France. Okay, so let's see. I don't want to like fix my bra strap on camera, but it's kind of okay. Well, I don't know that I can continue with like one boob hanging down to the floor. Let's see if I can fix this quickly. I was like, I could switch over to the camera and you guys could just wait for a sec, or you could just see me fix this really quickly. And we'll see. We're going to cross our fingers that that holds up. Chris is in Maryland. Hello. Okay. So let's see what the inspiration from this for this project is kind of fun because I love Instagram. Like it's so much fun. You come across all sorts of amazing people. And there's an artist I came across maybe just like a few months ago and I started following him. And I'll tell you what his Instagram handle is if I can find it quickly. I think I took a screenshot of it to help me out, or maybe I didn't. I will find it. It'll take 2 seconds. There we go. Okay, his name is Alex Foltz, like Foltz, and his Instagram handle is Foltz Studio, so Foltz Studio. And he does like all sorts of paintings, but he does some pet paintings that I thought were really, really cool because he looks like he does them quickly. And they have that kind of John Singer Sargent sort of feel to them, and which is, I would actually say, maybe my very favorite artist. I love his style. I love the compositions he does. And so the idea of creating something like that quickly, I don't know. There's lots of people that do this and do it amazingly well. And I don't know what's going to happen because normally I sketch out everything and I spend a lot of time finding the proportions that I like and mapping everything out. And this is just going to be like I wet the canvas and start blotting around and see what comes from that. It should be fun. So before I begin, oh, Arthur Buttons. Okay. Do you guys want to see who I'm painting today? So I printed it out, which by the way, I think is really helpful as opposed to holding it up on a screen. So we've got this, and I'm going to be painting this picture of Buttons, or trying to paint this picture of Buttons. So what it's going to look like is anybody's guess because like I mentioned, this is very highly experimental for me. Let's see. Oh, Mina says the MFA had a Sargent special exhibit. I would love to see his work in person. If I could paint like another person, I would say it would be John Singer Sargent. There's something like really, I like the roughness of the edges, but at the same time, it all kind of just, I mean, there's a reason everybody knows who he is. It's because his work is incredible. Okay. Oh, Lauren is hello from the Curious Cottage. Lauren, hello. So Lauren is staying at the California Mountain House, which is such a beautiful place. And I bet it's all sunny. I was telling my mom, I was like, I think it's sunny there almost every day. Like the weather on that mountain was very, very nice. And we're having beautiful weather here today. It's all nice and sunny outside. Okay, should I start? I haven't done an oil painting since I did that like tribute to Biggles. And that was 4 years ago, something like that. I think actually just exactly 4 years ago. So I don't have an apron that I'm okay sacrificing. So I'm just gonna put a dirty old towel. We've got my little inspiration right here, Arthur Buttons. Hello! Is he looking at the camera? He's so cute. Ooh, it's cold and foggy here in Southern California. Really? That's unusual. It's like, I think it's gonna be like 80 degrees here. Okay, so let's see. Like I said, I haven't done this in forever. There's a couple things. I'm actually experimenting quite a bit. So I've used linseed oil a little bit as like a medium to thin out and do really like transparent layers. But I'm going to be using an actual like a medium for oil paints. And this is just going to kind of make them a little more like slick and a little bit like less prone to drying quickly. Like it's going to slow down that process. So I've got a couple. I'm just going to use this to kind of mix some big colors. I've got 2 of these as well as a palette. Oh, it's 75 degrees in Milwaukee. Chris, I always think of Jeffrey Dahmer when I think of Milwaukee. I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing, but it is what I think about. He's from Milwaukee, right? I hope I'm not wrong about that. Europe is here. Hello. Okay. Let's see. He looks like Gertie so much. Okay, so that's why I've mentioned this before. I am painting Arthur Buttons before he catfished me. So this is what he looked like initially. And then he did turn into like a little appendage of Gertie. Sometimes they're laying together and you can't really tell who's there or what's going on. It's kind of like that movie The Thing where it sort of like incorporates things around it. And you just ended up with like this mutation. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is get like a really rough coat on here. I want it to look kind of dingy and old. I love dingy and old. And so I'm going to start doing this by taking some yellow. This is really fun. Normally most of everything I do, I feel like it's going to be an episode, so I spend an obscene amount of time making sure everything looks as perfect as I can get it and being really persnickety. And it's really kind of fun to do something where the stakes I feel like are very low. Like I feel like I've prefaced this enough with I'm not expecting a lot, but I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic. That's kind of the funny thing about watching like artists that you like is sometimes if they're good at it, like it makes it look easy and it makes you kind of think, oh, I could do that. And like, I can see how that's being done. It can't be too difficult. And then you start doing it and you're like, oh. So I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. And if not, hey, I'm not going to be upset about that. Okay, I'm going to start with a really nice big rough brush. Let's see. I haven't been reading these. What is the story of the doll behind you? Let me tell you. So what happened? We did that contest and people sent in all of these incredible dolls and hold on. We did the live stream where I talked about each of them, or I talked about as many as I could, and I couldn't get to all of them. And they were all so amazing that I think what I'm going to do from now on every live stream is I'm going to feature one of the dolls one at a time. And so Jenny Werner made this, and she's from Colorado. And there were so many, like I didn't actually get to appreciate all of the details of each one all the time. Like there was things that I overlooked. And I didn't notice that this one has like a little pretty sweet, like my little black kitty werewolf wrapped around my neck like she did when she was a kitten. And it was so amazing. And so I told you I have them all in like a really beautiful antique casket right now. And so I just open up the casket, find one that looks like it's going to go with the setting, and then that's what she's doing here. Jenny did an amazing job. I mean, really everybody who sent something did something amazing. I loved every single one. Okay, where is your blouse from? It's so pretty. Thank you. I think it's like from the 70s. And I got it on probably eBay. It was cheap and I've never worn it. And I'm wearing it now because it's like if I get a little paint on it, I'm gonna survive. I don't want to. I've kind of gone through something where I've gotten rid of all of my like kind of junkier clothes. And so what that leaves you with is clothes that you don't want to ruin. And so the only clothes that I have that I'm totally okay with destroying are like sweat clothes or just like really kind of like whatever, nothing special. But I don't want to be sitting here looking all frumpy. Okay, so I'm going to take these colors. Leslie says, your outfit reminds me of something I would have worn when I was teaching. Yay! Leslie, what did you teach? I'm sure you've told me. What was I going to say? What it reminds me of is like the 70s version of the Stepford Wives. There was like a, I don't know what to call it, like a filter over like a lot of like 70s movies that I just really, really like. Okay, so first things first. I've taken all my primary colors and I want a brown. So I'm going to take a lot of yellow, little bit of red. A little bit of red goes a really long way, so you do have to be kind of careful. Same with blue. If you're trying to make something that looks nice and muddy, which is what I'm trying to do. Take a little bit of white. So then you use white or black if you want to like start muting it down. You don't want it to be too saturated. Black does this, but like you can see, a little tiny bit of black goes very, very, very far. Now you can see it's gone green. So you counteract that by adding a little bit of red. This is, by the way, mixing colors, one of my favorite things. So anyway, if you want it to veer away from green, you just keep adding red and eventually it will go brown. But as you can see, I'm adding just a little bit at a time because once it's there, it's a kind of an obnoxious chore to like pull it back if you go too far. Okay, that should get it really close. And so what I'm doing is I'm mixing these colors first, and then once I've got that, I'm actually going to add some of this medium to kind of, let's see, that's looking kind of gross and old, which is exactly what I wanted. I hope this is enough to cover this canvas. I think it should be. Okay, that should do it, I think. And I don't need an obscene amount of this color. I think because I'm going to use a medium to kind of get it down. Let's see. I think that looks good. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of the medium. By the way, we have an antique store in the basement. I think I've mentioned this. We have yet to go through every little thing in the house, and in the basement there's tons of old bottles and cool things. So to get all of my little pieces, I just like put on some shoes and went down into the basement today. Plucked a bunch of old bottles. Now, I don't know how far this medium's going to go, so I'm using just a little bit at first to see what I get. And I think I want, let's get a little less saturation there because it's gone pretty far. It takes quite a bit of elbow grease, I think. Oh, let's see. Leslie said, I started teaching junior high. Math, oh my gosh, I would be terrible at that. And then taught first grade for 23 years. That would be really fun. I can tell you something I've noticed as I've gotten older. I I've never liked babies. I know that's terrible, but like, you know how I feel when people talk about babies is kind of how I feel about kittens. But as I've gotten older, I'm kind of like, babies are kind of cute. I think that just happens to you. First graders would be a challenge, I would think. Okay, I think I need a little bit more medium because I really want to be able to make this pretty slick to work on. I don't want it to. Entering your grandma era. I have been living in my grandma era since I was 17. I used to just like lay around like with a blanket on at my parents' house as a teenager, and it was very pleasant. And I already like hard candy, so my purse, I have like Werther's Original in my purse. That's kind of new, so maybe I am entering my grandma era. Okay, we're just gonna put this down and see what we think. So let's see, Evelyn, or let's see. Evan said, I don't think I ever said it before, but I used one of the quotes from the Curious Creations show on my senior quote in high school. That makes me so happy. Please find a picture of it and send it to me if you can. Okay, so now I'm just gonna slop this on. You don't have to care what it looks like. You're just trying to basically wet the canvas with something and trying to get rid of the white. I like that sound. I don't know how loud that sound is for you. This is already fun. So the canvas I'm using, I know I mentioned it's a really good idea to have a frame in mind, but I didn't have time to go looking for a frame. So I'll flip it back over here. I didn't have time to go looking for a frame. So I was like, I'll get a canvas big enough that I can actually, so it's got boards obviously on the backside, and I'm going to be able to cut it away from, or like unstaple it from this and maybe make a different little stretcher for this later on. So I can kind of fit it into whatever frame I want. I'm not really like restricted at all in like the size that I make this. What is everyone making? Oh, someone had such a good idea. I tried to take a picture on, let's see if I did it. Okay. Okay. Heather Janes said, Instagram hasn't been great recently with hashtags, but if we tag Christine H. McConnell in our post, then we can all see your art on the tagged section of my profile. So if you post anything, if you're working right now, if you tag my Instagram account, anyone can go to my Instagram account and just go to the tagged pictures, and then we can all see each other's stuff, which I think is such a great idea. And that's also kind of a fun way, if you see something that like really kind of resonates with you, you can like talk to the person and you guys can chat about it. I hope you're talking to me. Oh wait, no. My dog passed 2 months ago, and it's been really hard. I'm trying to paint a picture of him. I hope it's okay. I know it's just, I'm like looking at the camera. The camera's behind me. I'm so sorry. It's just a horrible, horrible thing. But I feel like the people that are the most upset about it usually are like the best pet parents. So like, you're suffering, but you did something so wonderful for them. So they're happy, if that makes it any better. Okay, I'm gonna flip back And I'm just going to try to give this a little bit of texture, a little messy. Nothing too fancy. I'm checking myself to see if I Okay, so now I do want to highlight the center just a little bit. So I'm taking a little bit of that white going in here. I'm kind of working at this a little bit backwards. You don't really need to worry about the backdrop so much right now, but I do just kind of want to create a little bit of a lighter something so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better is what I'm saying. Just create a little bit of like an ombre right there. I love a vignette, so it's kind of, I want the edges to look a little bit darker. But again, I'm going to be going in here and messing with this anyway, so it is not terribly important. Okay. So now we've got like a little bit of a canvas, nothing too exciting so far. And I am realizing I'm going to need some paper towels, and I brought in a rag, but I think I'm going to overwhelm that rag really quickly if I don't have paper towels. Maybe the captive is listening and he can bring me some. Okay. Oh, so somebody had asked, am I enjoying the live stream? I'm assuming you're talking to me. And I have a funny story to tell you. So the last live stream that I did, 1 second, let me check something. The last live stream that I did in the other room, I never know what I think of them as they're happening. And even like right after they're over, I usually call my mom and I'm like, did you like that? And sometimes I feel really good about them. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know if that was such a good one. Anyhow, so I'm going to put this. Oh, I do have a little thing of paint thinner. There we go. This is one of the jars I found downstairs. Oh, look at that. So I've got like it's not turpentine, but it's like a painting version of that. Let's see. Ooh, hold on. I think I hear paper towels coming, I think. Hopefully. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a cat. Okay, so let's see. Well, so what I was going to say is the last live stream that we did, I don't know that I felt particularly good about it. And then I actually went and watched some of it and I was like, oh, that's very calm and peaceful. So I liked it, is what I'm getting at. Which is kind of funny. Okay. And then get in here, and I'm just going to make a little bit of a darker brown. And so I'm going to use this color to kind of very, very lightly start blocking in a little bit of what I'm thinking of. And to do this, and like I said, I watched this this artist on Instagram, and it doesn't look terribly complicated. So I'm going to hold my picture here, and I'm going to see if I can. So you basically, what you want to do is just get the shape of him first. So like, look here, a little thing right there, little ear right there. Go around a little bit. I'm going to see if I can't get a little bit of some nose in there, a little bit of an eye. And the reason you do this like wet on wet is because you really the reason you don't work too hard on the surrounding canvas is because you're going to actually go in and perfect that. This is just the let's figure out if our placement is good for things. I'm just kind of looking for the dark spots. So here you can see he's got this little thing right there. He's got some like little ears right here. Up there, there's a little bit of a thing. Right there, he's got a little bit of darkness. I'm just kind of trying to go in. And it does not need to be at all too perfect right now. You're trying to just kind of very vaguely map things out a little bit. Look at his little mouth. Let's see. Okay, so now we want to get a little bit of this here. Let me get in here just to, let's make these just a little bit. Let me get this right here. The thing that's so great about that kind of wet on wet technique is you can sort of find positions for things and then start building in those contrasts a little bit more. It's kind of already starting to look like something. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to take another little brush. What am I looking for here? Actually, I think I've got the wrong brush for what I want. I want this guy. So now what I'm going to do okay, so now I'm going to take some white, go right over here because I really want to create a pretty light version, and I can start kind of building out some of these things, and hopefully it will start looking like something. Okay, so right here, it's got a lot of lightness. You've got it right there. Right, his little mustache. His eyebrows are really important. I'm just going to kind of The thing that's fun about this is he's such a cute little dog. It's sort of hard to mess up too much. I'm just gonna like I said, you're just kind of blocking in some of this stuff. Nothing needs to look too finished at all right at this point. Okay, so now I want to go in something just a little bit darker, or actually, yes, darker. I had to think about it. Gosh, okay, I will tell you, I haven't played with my oil paints in a minute, and the black, this particular brand, is like, it's really black. It's jumping, it's going all for it. And right now what I'm doing is just a little bit of a gray. This is going to be just kind of a medium to kind of find what I'm trying to make here. Here, I just want to really, let's bring that foot out. Let's see. A plushie. He is. I wish I could read all of these comments, by the way, while we're doing this, because it's actually, it would be really fun to interact just a little bit more. Let's see if I can. Eyebrows are so important in kind of framing how cute a little face can be. Keep wanting to jump in between really dark and really light, which isn't so great, but I'm just going to kind of, I'm just working in something in those hollow spots. From here, I'm going to actually be able to go in and make some adjustments. Start taking some swipes at this. Let's see. Bob Ross vibes. Okay, I desperately need a paper towel because I think I'm kind of fighting here a little bit with my paints. So what I'd like to do is I'm actually going to go in and add a highlight, which the actual picture itself does not have. But first, let's define that ear a little bit better. So the fun thing I will tell you is if you start to find, let's see, you know what I need to do? I'm going to improvise. Like I said, this is a rag I don't really care about. So I'm going to cut it up and see if I can tear it. Whew. Why is that so fun to do? Although I always think of that, I think I listen to all these horrible stories, and there was some terrible murderer that would like cut up towels. Maybe it was the Golden State Killer, and he would like make this horrible tearing sound as he was like, okay. So basically what I want now is to kind of, let's go in here. Oh, hold on one second. Okay, I'm over here. Thank you so much. I love you. Are we okay? Hello. Okay. Brought me some paper towels, although I think I might try to use this rag right now. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is I can see I've gone a little bit too high with that ear right there. And where did my little picture go? This is why the wet on wet technique is so great, is because you're not married to any silhouette at all. So if something doesn't go quite right, you can just go in here, kind of knock it out a little bit. And then we're going to actually go in, and once we've got like the shape perfectly figured out, we're going to go in and make some changes. Let's see, screen still off. We can't see you. Hold on. Oh no, well that's an issue. Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me? Let's see. The camera is still off. Is there a voice or is it just gone? Okay, so let's see. The scene hasn't switched back to the video yet. Okay, so we've got some issue. Wait, hear, yes. We can hear you. We can hear you, no seeing. Okay, let me pause this. Hold on, one sec, we'll be right back. flip back. Okay, can you see me now? I might have hit the wrong thing. Okay, hold on 1 second. We're watching something to see if it pops back. There we go. Yay, okay. I think I might have done that. I think this is what happened. I switched it the wrong way. That's what happened. Okay, see and hear, thank goodness. Let's see, so now I'm gonna go in, not even that I need to do this, but let's just get this back to kind of looking how it was. Just so I'm not distracted by, because that can happen. Okay, thank goodness. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. Now I need, well, I'll tell you right now, having a little rag makes all the difference in the world, or some sort of something to wipe things off. Okay, so I think what's happening here is his little tiny body. It's coming down like that. And then I'm going to have to use my imagination, I think, for some of this little guy. Because his little tail kind of does a little thing. I'm going to pretend that's his little foot. And then I'm going to go in here. I'm going to highlight that just a little bit. Okay, do I have any tips for how to organize all of your tool supplies? I do. It's called stuff them wherever people can't see them. And it's a technique I have been using for years and years and years, and it is incredibly effective for hiding things and not very effective for finding them when you need them. And a perfect example of that is I didn't even know where my paints were when I decided I was going to do this, and I just went and got new paints because I was like, we moved in the time since the last time I painted anything was. And so I didn't really know what to look for. So I'm being funny, but the answer is no, I'm not good at organizing. I'm getting a little bit better as I get older, but not too much. Okay, so let's see. So this is the stage where you're really just kind of working out. I do need a little bit more white. Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell you right off the bat, this is turning out better than I expected, just because I thought this was going to look like a big, messy pile of garbage. And it's kind of already sort of looking a little bit like a dog, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I know his dumb little face, so that kind of makes, that's sort of the tricky part about if you like ever hire somebody to do like a pet portrait for you, is you know what your little booger looks like. And you know his, like, their cutest little expressions that they do. See, he is just a big hairy mess, so I'm just trying to see if I can't get that to come through. And now I'm just like wiping paints off on myself. It's got like a dark little fringe down here that I'm going to try to bring out. And I'm not talking a lot just because I'm trying to focus on getting this to look right. I feel like there's a lot of forgiveness when it comes to pets as opposed to people, just because animals are pretty, like the fur kind of gives you quite a bit of, like, I would say forgiveness or leeway. You kind of get away with a lot more. Right now I'm just trying to get some of these. I'm gonna go real dark right here because that's kind of a let me think. Somebody's you've got to trust the process. Um I was mostly worried that I was just going to actually like humiliate myself here. And it's actually kind of coming out a little bit cuter than I was expecting. And how long have we're 50 minutes in and I'm feeling pretty good about it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm just going to go until I'm not really having fun anymore, which you have a certain amount of time before you kind of usually feel like, okay, maybe I need to like step away from this and gain a little perspective with a break. And so for the sake of the live stream, I'm just going to keep going until I feel like I don't really have anything more to add right now. And I've got to be honest, I'm kind of liking it, and this might be like the beginning of this little painting. Just because he's so cute. And that process, I don't mean to toot my own horn too much, but I mean, like, it looks like a cute little chubby version of him. So I want to And the coolest thing about this, I think, is I will tell you, there is nothing I like more in the world than a homemade gift or handmade gift. I have told this to the captive before too. There's something so special about receiving something that somebody actually spent their time on and like made. And so, like, if you can practice this and get kind of good at it to the point that like you're making things that people are happy with, it's such an amazing gift to give people instead of like spending a bunch of money. Because you can, anything can be a canvas, really. The truth is, like, I've painted on glass before. You could go to like a dump or something and find something random. So it's not really something that costs too much other than the initial investment of some brushes and things like that. But it just, I feel like it enriches your life so much to get good at making things yourself. And I mean, it doesn't have to necessarily be painting, it can be all sorts of things. Okay, so now I'm going to start shadowing his base in a little bit, just so it doesn't look so much like he's just floating out in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not even doing this in a way that it's going to be permanent. It's just kind of something that's helping me mentally anchor him to the ground. And I'm actually going to have to refresh. Let's see, Tillura says, I love how people light up when you give them a handmade gift or something. I completely agree. One year, the captive, I don't think we had a lot of money. And I said something to him. He was like, I don't know what to get you for your birthday. And I was like, honestly, I'd just be happy if you like went into the forest and like made something out of whatever you find there. And he did that. And he made me like a birdhouse out of stuff he just found out in the woods. And it's one of my favorite things. We've got it like right in the living area of the house. And I've just kept it. And I think it's so special and important to me. I'd actually say it's probably the thing that like I care about the most that he's given me. That and that Bernina. That obscenely expensive sewing machine he got me for Christmas, which is the coolest thing ever. Let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to keep darkening this up. I do need a little bit more black, I think, because we want that to be the darkest thing. I'm going to grab that. We're going to go down here, and I'm going to make this dark, 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 just so it looks like he's sitting on something. And again, none of this is permanent. It's just to help me mentally sort of figure out where he's sitting in all of this. I'm just trying to blend this out a little bit so it's not too distracting. Okay, that's helping me kind of see that he's sitting somewhere, not just floating in space. And so basically, the reason you do this where you like block in everything is you kind of, that's your time to sort of figure out the proportions and like where like this eyeball needs to be sitting here and that eyeball needs to be sitting there. And by the way, some of this I knew, but also that amazing painter that I follow on Instagram. I'm gonna have to like mention him again just because he's wonderful. Let's see, I hope I took a picture of his account. I might not have. I didn't. Foltz, his name, Foltz Studio. Anyway, so he does audio and he talks a lot about the process, and it's so helpful to kind of hear some of that reasoning. And he's somebody who does this like all the time, like it's like his main gig. Okay, so now that I feel like it's kind of something, I am going to go in and start creating a little bit more detail in the places that are just going to make it pop a little bit more. Okay. So this having like the picture right there to like reference is beyond helpful. I'm just going to go in and I want to get these shapes just a little bit more defined. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of looking for things that I see in this picture that kind of really give him a lot of shape. Okay, so I'm going to keep going, but we're at an hour, and so we've gotten this far in an hour, and I feel like that's pretty good. Let's see. So now I want to, let's go back to the highlights a little bit, or just trying to bulk out some of those shapes so they make a little bit more sense. Add a little bit. So you can see like my palette just looks like a big old mess. But it does not need to look too nice right now. right now what I'm doing right this second that you can't see is I'm trying to get like a, I don't know if that's the right color. I'm trying to get like a blonde base to start making some of those mid highlighted areas kind of jump out a little bit more. And I did something where it just went a little bit too much, too red. Okay, that's feeling a little bit better, I think. Oh, Dave, thank Dave said with how good this one is, now one of each of the pets. I'm loving that idea. This is also, I mean, he's just the cutest little goofball you've ever seen. I'm just blending some of these out. Basically, what I'm trying to do is you can see that like he looks very, let's see, a little bit hollow. You can see like, and I'm trying to fill that out a little bit. So that we get less and less of that kind of base color that was in there. Let's see, 1 second. My crow is outside barking at me. Ah, I love crows. I wish I could get one. I didn't even mention. Let me throw back over here. We had a pigeon in the house. I started, the captain was the one who noticed it. He's like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "No." And he was just like, "I think there's like a bird in the house." And I was like, "I haven't heard anything." Sure enough, there was a pigeon flying around the house, and it got into the morning room, kind of that upstairs room where the snake couch is. And it was banging against the window because obviously it wanted out. It wasn't super thrilled about being stuck in here. Um, and I was able to just like walk right up to it and like kind of pick it up with my hands. And like we opened the side window and it just flew away. It was so cute. That's about, I think, like I have a good track record so far of being able to like capture birds in my hands that have been flying around places that they shouldn't be for their own safety. And that was the first one I think I've gotten out of this house. We've gotten bats. I've been able to. Oh my gosh, his face is so cute. I don't think I could love him more, but this is definitely. Okay, let's keep going. Do you guys mind if I keep going? Is that okay? I hope this isn't getting a little bit boring, but I'm honestly just having like a complete blast doing this. I thought this was going to be fun, and I'm going to go so far as to say it's even more fun than I was hoping for. I'm just trying to blend in some of these areas. The nice thing is you can kind of just keep going in with different colors and working out things. Oh, I should flip this back so you can see what I'm doing. He's such a little goofball. You know, what's funny too is he looked like this for about 5 seconds. He looked so cute, unbelievably cute, and then very quickly, it's just like that with kittens. Kittens are just unbelievably, just easily the cutest thing on earth. And then in 2 seconds, they turn into teenage cats, which I don't have a massive amount of love for. I love all cats, but that is the worst age of a cat is the teenage phase. I like them brand new and then as aged as they can get because I do love an old cat. And I'm trying to beef him up a little bit, give him a little bit more. Let's see if I can't get in here and highlight his little mustache. Let's get his little beard too. He really did look like an Ewok, I think, at this time. Okay, so let's add, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but let's add a little highlight to his eye. It's not the right brush. I don't think that's the right brush either. I'm just grabbing all of them. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to flip this back over. Christine, do you ever come up with a project idea that the captive tries to talk you out of? Most of them. I know that's a terrible thing to say, but I mean, he has a much better sense of like how involved things are going to be, how difficult they're going to end up turning out. And I don't have any sense of that. I'm just like, I think this is a great idea. Let's just do it and see what happens. The craft room, the bird room that I'm working on upstairs, there should be a recording of me somewhere. I told him, I was like, I think I could do that in like a week. We're like 3 months later. But I just did all the painting in the room. And so that episode, so the painting episode is coming next month. I did an ombre all over the ceiling and the walls. And so it's very subtle and reserved, but I couldn't really do a pattern or anything like that because then it would have distracted from what she did. And I didn't want to overpower that at all. And so, but it's awesome. Okay, so hold on. Now I'm gonna, so there's something called, I'm gonna flip back over here. See if I can do this without that falling. There's something called an artist's maul stick. It's basically like a rod with a little soft thing, and they use it and they hold it. So it'd be like this. Ah, got turpentine all over it. Let me, if I could maybe grab something a little better. So they have something and then they use that to steady their hand, basically. So they'll have it like right there. Truth is, you can use any stick. Okay, so let's see if I can get a little bit of a highlight happening here. And highlight makes a huge difference in making something kind of come to light, come to life. I'm just trying to kind of highlight his eyes a little bit. And the other nice thing is if you find out that you don't like where the dot is on a highlight, you can always black it in really quickly. I'm just adding a little bit of an extra. So I think, like I just mentioned, did the thing I said can happen, where I think this highlight is too far over. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to black that in. Let's go back in here. Get that highlight going on again. And I'm going to done that again. So you don't have to be married to wherever something ends up. You can always, because I would say if, whether you're doing a painting of a pet or a person, whatever, the highlight on those eyes, the spacing of the eyes, the highlight on the eyes is maybe the most critical. And so whether or not you have to go back and forth to try to get that, let me add just a little bit of a smear here to make it match the other eye. What I'm doing is adding just a little bit, almost like there's light coming in from the room and it's casting a little bit of a reflection on his eye. So another little great tip I will give you is you can take a picture. And that will usually tell you you've got it or you need to keep working. See, and I feel like that highlight is still a little bit too high. Even though I'm not really matching the placement of the photograph, I'm kind of matching whatever I just think looks the best. Let's see what that looks like. Liking that? I'm not sure. This is why it's nice to get the placement all right before you start getting frustrated with any of this other silly stuff. Kind of modeling that down just a little bit so I can kind of see. Do I want to try to replace that highlight? This one I'm really happy with. Yeah, I feel like it needs to go over a little bit more. This is part of why that wet on wet technique is so nice. There we go. Okay. It takes a second. Let's see. He looks like he's waiting for some treats or something. And he's going to give a little bark. I love that. Okay, so now I'm kind of liking what he's looking like. So now what I'm going to do, let's take this. I want to use a brush brush do I want to use? Start edging in that background a little bit better. I think to do that. Now, let's see. So I want to, let me flip this back over. So I'm going to kind of create my own little background, but I want to go fairly light now with the little ombre around him. And then once that's kind of blocked in, then I'm going to start like adding like an actual highlight to him. And that's going to just really make him jump out at you a lot more. Let's see. Okay, so what am I going to do? Let's mix up a color first. So let's see. I don't want him to vanish. It won't if I go. Let's go like this. And right now I'm just taking a color. I don't want to go too light because then my highlights around him won't be as contrasted as I need them to be. But I want to go light enough that the edges looking darker is going to stand out and give it that kind of a vignette that I was talking about. Okay. So let's see. So this is now. You're going to want to have him close by so we can begin. So this is going to look messy for a second. And we're going to reel it back in. Going to kind of work out from that. This is a good time to like cut in a little bit. Make sure you like the silhouette that you've made here. This a little bit. I'm not talking a lot right now, just because I'm so it's nice if the strokes are kind of going all in the same direction. It gives it a little bit more of a stylistic look. Set that aside for a second. He looks mischievous. Ah. Okay, so I have some sponges that I'm going to use to kind of break this up a little bit. A little bit more of a highlight happening right there. I know that's obnoxiously loud. I apologize. Okay, so now let's add a little bit of a dark vignette around this. It's going to make it pop out just a little bit more. Jump up the saturation there. Trying to figure out a quieter way to do that without it being terribly loud. Now I'm just trying to kind of break up some of those strokes so they're not so, don't jump out at you quite so much. Now I don't mind closing in a little bit. I like want that ombre, but I don't want it to overwhelm it, if that makes sense. This is definitely the sort of thing that I could see myself fiddling with for a really long time. Let's see. I don't think I want to mess with that so much anymore right now, except right there. Okay, so now let's get back into, my hands are covered in paint. Okay, so we're at an hour and a half, and like kind of looks like him. He's a little beefier here, but I don't hate that. I've kind of I fattened him up a little bit, but I don't mind that. Look at how cute he is. Okay, so now let's go in and start adding some highlights that aren't even in that original picture. And I'm gonna have to figure out where I want that light to be coming from, because at this moment I have the option of having it look like the light is coming, like there's a light coming down this way, something coming from here, and I think I'm going to end up with something a little bit more dynamic looking if it comes in at this angle. So what I'm doing now is I'm making a light orange color. And I'm going to want a decent amount of this particular color because it's going to need to carry over into, I'm going to have enough to basically do the main highlight and then kind of shade it in a little bit. Because I think I'd like to create something that has a little bit of a kind of a golden hour effect. Let's see how that's looking. Off topic, you could hire a plant service company to set up live plants in your sunroom with drip watering, and maintenance. Fake plants are pretty, but plastic is, yeah, and off gas in the sun. Yeah, I could do that, but then it would mean like strangers were coming in the house. And I get kind of, oh, I have made a really great step in getting away from using plastic bottles, which is something I have felt horrible about for a long time, but didn't really have a solution for because this area, the pipes are really, really old, and I'm assuming they're made of lead and God knows what else. So I don't really trust the tap water. So I've just been drinking bottled water, and I felt like horrible about that plastic. We recycle it, but still. And so anyway, Grant's brother came and he was like, oh, why don't you use a water service? Like where they come, like kind of like an Arrowhead sort of something. And we started doing that. And not only do I drink tons more water, but I don't have to feel bad about all of that horrible plastic. Okay, so let's see. Don't know if that's light enough. I need to go a little bit lighter. Now this is experimental. I make no promises. This could look really good or look really terrible. The nice thing is, if it looks terrible, I should be able to undo it. Okay. Because right now, it's looking good, but it is a little flat, and we need him to look a little bit more dynamic. And doing that, I will say, doing a highlight with this wet on wet technique is tricky because your color wants to immediately blend away into those darker colors underneath. So I might have to make a few passes with this to really get it to punch up the way I want it to. Let's see. We're going to want to get that highlight to carry over into his little snout fur. Oh, let's see. Talia said I just posted mine on Instagram. Where did my phone go? Because I want to see. Oh, it's right over here. Let's see what that's. That's not horrible. Okay, so let's see if I go over to Instagram. Oh, I love this. Okay, hold on. A little panda. Oh my God, I love that. Amazing. Okay, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. Your kitty. This is that Natalia. Oh my gosh, that's looking fantastic. Oh, she's so pretty. I love this. This is so much fun. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see. So I'm going to keep trying to get these highlights to stick, but like I said, that wet on wet technique is kind of making it a little bit tricky. I might have more luck with this if I let this dry out. And then you can come in and like those highlights are just gonna be a little bit more vibrant. I'm not giving up though. Now I'm just trying to kind of almost glop it on so that it really jumps out the way I want it to. So right now what I'm trying to do is create little hairs that are catching the light. Just doing little gentle strands to kind of make his little mustache jump out a little bit more. Let's see. So now I'm just getting some of these hairs. I did all of those. Now I'm getting a fine brush. I can start hopefully doing some I'm just adding some, I just did a whole bunch of highlights and now I'm just going to go in and add some more shadows that I feel like are going to help him look a little bit more contrasted. Oh, we've got a motorcycle. Let's see. Some more highlights to this area so it doesn't look so vacant. Now I'm just basically trying to scatter some hair so it looks a little bit more organic. See, this is looking pretty good. So I'm just breaking up everything just a little bit. And I can see from what I'm doing, this is kind of that wet on wet technique is working well because it kind of grabs other colors and blends them in and it looks a little bit more alive or something. Let's see, let's add a little bit of a highlight to his little foot. And he is looking pretty darn cute. Okay. What do we think? Is that pretty good? Let's see, we're just at about 2 hours. I don't think I wanted to spend too much more time. I could definitely come back at this. This is kind of like a really great foundation to sort of, now I have something. I think what I'll do is I'm just gonna let this set, let it kind of look how, or just dry out basically. And then I'm gonna come in and then I can start just sort of like enhancing things. Because right now, the wet on wet, let's see if I can't do a little signature down here. That doesn't really look like anything. Let's just 24. Okay. All right. Was that fun? Honestly, I've never done anything like this, so I would say it vastly exceeded the expectations I had because I thought this was going to just turn into a potentially like a big mess. Um, but I feel like that's actually kind of a cute little portrait considering it was just nothing just a couple of hours ago. So, yay. I'm a little surprised if I'm being just totally honest. I'm trying to think. So what's going to happen? We the roof was going to happen this month, but the people got held up. So now it looks like that's happening next month. Episodes will be happening about that, but I'm not sure when they're coming out. In just a few days, we're going to be done with this room up here. So the final episode for the embellishments of the medallion will be coming up, and you're going to get to see the room painted and the light fixture in place and all of this beautiful stuff. And then next month, we're going to reveal like how I did this painting technique in the room, which just, it took so long to do, but it was absolutely worth it because I just feel like it looks so pretty. So anyhow, tons of fun stuff coming on. I think when some of this stuff is done, I'm going to take a little break from doing home renovation stuff and kind of get more into like fun little crafty project things, just because I feel like I've been doing so much of this thing. I kind of want to get back into like some baking and just like fun craft stuff. I think we're talking about like a purse, kind of like what's in my bag, but I'm going to actually like decant a bunch of fun stuff into a purse. So I don't know when that's coming, but I've just got a ton of things in store. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope this was fun. This was an experiment. I don't think we've done any kind of like a live painting thing before. So I'm super jazzed and I will keep sort of punching away at this. So until then, take care of yourselves and have a very lovely Sunday.